The Ash Archive, Chapter 2. Jonah Vale left the burned annex with 2 receipts in his coat and ash in his cuffs. The city had always been good at making a man carry residue. He did not go home. Home was an apartment above a shuttered tailor shop, where the radiator knocked like a bad witness, and the front door lock had opinions. If the annex could sign his name before he arrived, it could find a lease. Instead, he walked 6 blocks in the rain to the Nut Jar Diner, where the coffee tasted reheated, and the waitress knew enough not to ask why his shoes left grey prints on the floor. Leona Rusk was waiting in the last booth. She had changed out of the postal jacket. Without it, she looked younger and more dangerous, the way people do when grief has stopped stunning them and started giving orders. "You found something," she said. Jonah laid Theo's receipt on the table, then the older carbon copy bearing his mother's name. Leona read both without touching them. "Elena Rusk? My mother. Same last name." The city liked making neighbors into relatives on paper when it simplified relocation. Jonah slid into the booth. "We were not family. But the annex thought you were. The annex thinks like a clerk who died before finishing the filing." Leona looked toward the rain-black window. Theo said something was still processing down there. Jonah stilled. "When?" "2 nights before he went into the channel. He called me from a payphone on Mercer because he was scared the mobile line was being copied. He said the building took his money and gave him a claim number. I thought he was drunk." "You said Theo did not drink. That is how much I wanted an ordinary answer." Jonah understood that. Ordinary answers were cheaper. They did not follow you home or write your signature on forms you had never seen. Leona removed a folded postal route map from her bag and tapped a pencil mark near Mercy Street. Theo had been checking dead address mail. Undeliverable pieces routed back to places that no longer exist. Most were junk. One was a city notice addressed to my brother at the annex. "What notice?" "A final reminder." She handed it over. The envelope was torn at the top. The letter inside carried the municipal seal and no department name. "Failure to retrieve confession item may result in involuntary disposition." Jonah read the line twice. Cities do love making threats sound like forms. "What is a confession item?" "I was hoping you knew." The diner's jukebox clicked on, though no one stood near it. A song tried to start, failed, and dissolved into radio static. The waitress looked over from the counter and frowned as if the machine had embarrassed her. Through the static came a man's voice, low and tired. "Box 12 opens for blood or debt." Leona went pale. Jonah kept his eyes on the jukebox. "You hear that?" "Yes. Though none of it was good. I hate private miracles." The voice continued, thinned by old wiring. Mercy Street filed them by what they owed, not what they did. The waitress unplugged the jukebox. The voice stopped. Rain filled the silence where the dead had been. Jonah took the carbon receipt and turned it over. The back was blank, except for a watermark visible when the neon beer sign hit it at an angle. A12. Same number as Theo's key. Same number as the basement door. "I need your brother's apartment," he said. Leona did not argue. That made him respect her and worry about her in equal measure. Theo Rusk had lived above a tire shop near the viaduct. The apartment held the disciplined mess of a man who fixed mechanical things for a living and trusted paper less than tools. Mail stacked in milk crates, transit manuals. A photo of Leona and Theo as children on a stoop that no longer existed except in tax maps and a memory of people paid to forget. Jonah found the claim number taped inside the breaker panel. A12, Mercy, Elena, Jonah present. "He knew your name," Leona said. "Or the archive did." "That distinction matters?" "It matters until it does not." They searched the apartment with gloves from Theo's workbench. Under the bed, Leona found a lockbox. Jonah used Theo's keyring before she could suggest breaking it. Inside were 3 cassette tapes, a roll of undeveloped film, and a city form signed by a man Jonah recognized from the Claims Bureau. Gerald Mott. Mott had supervised Jonah's last official case and taught him how to say budget limitation when he meant moral failure. The form authorized transfer of residual confession material from Mercy Street to the annex after the fire, dated 6 months after the annex burned. Leona picked up one cassette. Its label was written in Theo's blocky hand. Mercy Street, Box 12, do not play alone. Jonah had never liked instructions that sounded sensible. He found a tape deck in Theo's closet and set it on the kitchen table. The first 30 seconds were hiss, then footsteps, water dripping, Theo breathing through his teeth. Theo's recorded voice said, "Leona, if you get this, the annex is not haunted the way people say. It is staffed." Another voice followed, older, female. Jonah's hand tightened around the edge of the table before his mind made the identification. His mother. "Jonah," Elena Rusk said from the tape. "If they bring you the receipt, do not pay the fee." Leona whispered, "How is that possible?" Jonah did not answer, because the tape did. "The fee is not money," Elena said. "It is the memory they take to balance the box." The apartment lights flickered once. On the table, the carbon receipt began to darken, as if ink were rising through old paper. New words formed beneath Elena's message. "Outstanding balance, one son." From the hallway came a soft knock. Not urgent, not human in any convincing way. 3 polite taps, the cadence of someone arriving for an appointment made long ago. Leona reached for the tire iron by the door. Jonah picked up the receipt instead. His signature was already waiting on the bottom line.